Have you ever wondered what happens when a multiplication overflow occurs in programming? It can be a tricky concept, but today we're going to break it down together. If you've ever encountered this issue, you're in the right place. I totally get it. Understanding how data types and overflows work can be confusing, especially when you're deep into coding. You're not alone in this. Many developers face similar questions. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. A user asked about a line of code in the Bcache source that involves a multiplication operation. They want to know what value gets passed to the function when an overflow occurs. Sound familiar? Let's dive into the details. To understand this, we need to look at the code snippet provided. The variable writeBackRate update seconds is defined as an unsigned integer, which is typically 32 bits on x86-64 systems. When multiplied by hz, which is likely also a 32-bit value, we need to consider what happens during that multiplication. And stick around. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how multiplication overflow works and how to handle it in your code. To understand the result of wrapping a multiplication overflow, the user should first recognize the maximum value for a 32-bit unsigned integer. This value is 2,147,483,647. Next, the user needs to consider the multiplication operation. If the user sets writeBackRate update seconds to its maximum value and multiplies it by hz, which is assumed to be 1,000, the result will exceed the maximum limit. Since the result exceeds the maximum value for a 32-bit unsigned integer, it will wrap around. This means the actual value passed to schedule delayed work will be the result modulo the maximum value plus 1. Finally, the user should calculate the wrapped value. The wrapped value will be a smaller number, which is the remainder of the division. This is the value that will be used in the function call. Fun fact, in programming, overflow can lead to unexpected behavior, sometimes even causing security vulnerabilities. Always be cautious with your data types. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. This user explains that if you multiply the maximum value of writeBackRate update seconds, which is 2,147,483,647, by hz, which is 1,000, you will encounter an overflow. The result passed to the function will be 4,294,966,296. However, if you cast writeBackRate update seconds to an unsigned long before the multiplication, the overflow is avoided. In this case, the value passed to the function becomes 2,147,483,647,000. Now, let's dive into a different answer from another user. This user explains that when both operands are unsigned integers, they are promoted to unsigned int. In this case, if there's an overflow, the result is calculated using modulo uint max plus 1. This means that if the result exceeds uint max, it wraps around to 0 and continues from there. Here's a pro tip. Always check the limits of your data types before performing operations that could lead to overflow. This simple practice can save you a lot of headaches down the road. And there you have it. Now you know how multiplication overflow works and how to handle it in your code. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more programming tips and tricks. Keep coding confidently.